And thank you for joining us today. I'm Marcy Eutakis. I'm with RLB, and I serve as the AED membership chair. And also with us today is co-chair Lisa Folsom from Sunland Asphalt. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning.
Also with us is Carrie Kelly, sort of in and out. I think she's running another, there she is, our Executive Director of AED to help facilitate today's meeting. So welcome to our 7th installment of AED's Member in Focus virtual series. It's where we conduct fun and informative interviews with Arizona's leading economic development practitioners.
For today's InFocus meeting, we've enabled your video so we can all connect. But to ensure the quality of our audio, we ask that all attendees place themselves on mute. If time permits at the end, we will take additional questions posted to the chat box. We will be keeping to our 30-minute time frame to get us all out on time today.
So Lisa and I will be your hosts today, and now it's my privilege to introduce one of Arizona's foremost economic developers, Jeanine Jerkovic from the City of Surprise. Welcome, Jeanine.
Thank you, Marcy. Thank you, Lisa. And thank you, Carrie. Really appreciate you inviting me here. And it's so nice to see some great friends and friends that I'd like to get to know.
Well, let's begin by finding out a little bit about what you do. To start, Jeanine, can you tell us a little bit about your role with the City of Surprise?
Sure, I'd be very happy to. I joined the city just over 6 years ago, and I'm the Economic Development Director for the City of Surprise. And I say this in the most loving way. I think, as a director, my role is 95% rodeo clown. And what I mean by that is I think there are different types of leaders out there where I think there are leaders that, are great at maintaining a situation, and there are leaders that need to make order out of chaos. And definitely in a role as an economic development director, you're the latter. You are, containing situations and making it somehow make sense, and really shielding the practitioners around you, as I get to do with Mike Hoover, Sam Hinkle, and Heather Donaldson, great talented people in my department, but really give them the tools and the resources that they need to do their job. And so I would say that's 95% of my job is really figuring out how to give really great people the opportunity to succeed.
Thank you, Jeanine. I call it herding cats on my end, so I like the rodeo clan as well. Now it's time for some questions about you to help us to get to know you better. What was your best vacation and why?
Okay, so my best vacation, and I'm going to put this into I'm a mom. I love going on vacation with the family, but my best vacation was actually before kids. It was one of those magical vacation, and I would say it lovingly, but being the mom on vacation is just very different than being on vacation before kids. So my husband and I, before kids, and this was even before 9/11, went to Istanbul for a week. And it was just one of those like magical experiences where people still, were pretty cool with America. they wanted to help me, and they probably still are. But it was, we met a couple on the trip that were staying in the same hotel, and they were from an area where my husband's from Serbia. They were from a Serbian area of Bosnia. So it's like you found like your trip friends, and for like a week, like we went out dancing, we ate the best food, and I got to see the Hagia Sophia, where it was when they still have the kind of the Christian relics. I guess they've covered them now. So it's a magical time. It was a magical trip. It was one of those like, gosh, that was probably my best vacation, where I came back and I felt recharged and made great friends.
Awesome.
And,
yeah, that sounds wonderful. That Istanbul is definitely on my bucket list. So
it's great.
I'd like to hear more about that.
Sure.
So what's on your travel or other bucket list to do, and why?
I have 2 places where I'd love to see. So in the career that we're all in, I know we're all obsessed with cities to some extent. So the one big city, I love big cities. I love New York, I love London, I love Paris. Like I love big cities. I've got to see Tokyo. it's like in my head, it's like a big Hello Kitty cartoon, and I have to be there. I got to go sleep in the drawer at the hotel. I've got to do it. And then, also, I mean, from an ancient city perspective, I'd love to see Machu Picchu in Peru. So those are my dream destinations.
Bucket list items.
Yeah.
And then what was the last show you binge watched?
Okay, so I think I finished Netflix in the quarantine to some extent because I'm rewatching things. So I just finished for the second time watching Schitt's Creek. Has anybody watched that? I'm in love with every single human being on Schitt's Creek. It's like my coffee in the morning. And everybody's kind and everybody's, it's just beautiful. And then if you know me, I love baking. So I'm actually watching again all the series on Netflix, the Great British Baking Show. So I'm a nerd enough that I've watched them all on PBS. I watched them on Netflix and I'm watching them again. So I can't watch those enough.
Yeah, those baking shows are brutal.
They are, but the Brits are just so great to each other. So I can't see on an American version when one person like drops their stuff or is behind that they would like come together and help Kevin finish his cake like that. We just wouldn't do that. I don't think we would. The Brits are just so sweet.
We'd be like, bye, Kevin.
Right. We're like, sorry, it's a competition.
All right. Well, now we've reached the part of the interview where we get to learn more about your work, Jeanine. Let's start with a few questions about your career.
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your current role and focus in economic development for the city of Surprise?
Well, sure. It's a great question because, as you know, I mean, every city is so different. So, I mean, our city is looking to really leverage our assets in a number of areas. So, while I rodeo clown, distractions away from the talented team, we focus on. I like to say it's 4 areas, and I call it our AIMS strategy. Advanced manufacturing. So we promote a rail surge certified by BNSF. Hey, Peter, shout out to BNSF, rail park in our community. So we're really excited about attracting that. Innovation, we've got a fabulous city-owned and operated business incubator called the AZ Tech Accelerator. It's our baby. And then M is medical travel. So we're interested in advancing medical excellence and really restoring Arizona's tradition of as a place for people to come from all over the world to recover. And then finally, signature retail. So at some point, I'd love to tell the Costco story, but if we have time.
Okay, we might get to that.
All right.
So what inspired you to pursue the career you have today, Jeanine?
Well, they say the definition of compromise is giving up something good for something better. And so my career trajectory since really I was a kid, I was going to be a foreign service officer. So I was doing all the right things. I was studying different languages, obsessed with world politics. And I had a chance to work in London. I worked for the embassy there. I passed the foreign service exam. I was going through a process, and then I met my husband. And, but a funny thing had happened in the course of my career. When I was in London, I had a job with an Arizona contractor for the state of Arizona. And I was helping at a conference. And it was interesting because I was meeting other economic developers for the first time. So I met Brian Dalkey from back in the day. I met John Chan. I met, I'm trying to think of all these great people, Tony Moon. There were great people that came to visit the Farnborough Air Show when I was there. And as we were talking, they told me that this is the career that they're in, and basically that I was doing economic development, whether I knew it or not. So when I met my husband, I decided I wasn't going to, get whisked away and join the Foreign Service. I had an opportunity to stay here and work for the Arizona Department of Commerce and just fall in love with this profession. Which is a lot like the Foreign Service in a lot of ways, because I'm convincing people to see things my way all the time, and with people from a lot of different perspectives. So it's I'm grateful, and I'm glad I didn't end up in a Kuala Lumpur or somewhere trapped in an embassy. So.
Thank you for sharing that. So what would be the best advice you could give to someone who just started an economic development career?
Oh my gosh, it's such a great question. So early in my career, I've got a lot of great advice myself, and I would stand by it. So Rick Weddle, who was the CEO of GPEC two CEOs ago, so right before Barry, had said, treat your career like a business. And that was great advice that stuck with me. So basically think of how you want people to remember you. Think of what you want to be known for. Do you want to be known as a hard worker? Do you want to be known as the, whatever you build that brand, and look for your next moves, look for opportunities. Kirsten Hall gave great advice. You can't fake your reputation. So I think Kirsten, shout out to you. Great advice. Rick Weddle also said, be a storyteller. And I thought that was great advice too. Be a storyteller. And, it's always been, for me, being a hard worker has been a really important part of my brand, and, getting obsessed with finding solutions for people. So I always tell people, like, be that person. Don't say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm going on break, I can't help you, or hey, it's not my problem. Get that out of your vocabulary. It's your problem. If somebody found you, figure out, it doesn't matter if it's a wrong number. So I did that yesterday. Somebody was calling for a police chief, and I was like, no, I'm here to help you. What can I help you with? So it's the nature of our business, be likable.
Couldn't agree more.
So tell us about a cool industry, a business, or an event within your community that we may not already know about.
Well, I can't, so I talked a little bit about the Techcelerator. So I can't really speak highly enough of some of the mountains we've been able to move with respect to that program. So, I guess one thing I think it's really cool that, we are a certified by the International Business Incubation Association. We're certified as a soft landing program. And there are, my colleague in Tucson, Carol Stewart at the U of A Innovation Center, told me yesterday that she did a check-in. They just recently, I think a year or two ago, got their certification as well, and it's not easy to do. And this means that we're certified to help businesses grow, who are international, to grow into the local market. Like we've actually, done this. We can show metrics that we've done this, and that we have the capabilities of carrying that forward. And what Carol Stewart reminded me, and I wasn't aware of this, there's less than, she said at this point, less than 24 of these. And think about it, there's 2 of them in Arizona. Like, how cool is Arizona? Where we get to be part of that. Just yesterday, I was on the reason I was talking to Carol Stewart, we figured out a partnership with an incubator in Quebec, Canada, and in France, something called Le Poule. And we did a great little meetup called our Tech Triangle Talk. So that's maybe one event I would say. Not a lot of people are probably aware of that, but it was great.
Very nice. Is there a special project or program that you're working on right now, or a current win that really stands out to you?
Well, I'm proud of the win that I can still fit in my clothes after quarantine, because that was a big question. But in all seriousness, maybe, you know what, I'm going to tell the Costco story. So that was a win. So Costco opened its doors in surprise in September of 2020. So 5 years ago, actually 6 years ago, we started a retail survey. We were bonkers. We started throwing Costco birthday parties, and do it really kind of crowdsourcing, I would say, our marketing strategy. We really got our residents involved, and they, at to kind of the point of a gun, they took a meeting with me. They really didn't want to have a meeting with me, but they came in and met with me. And the guy, I remember, he just slammed his hat down. He said, "I just want to let you know, we're never coming to your community." I mean, this was 5 years ago, and I'm a little bit like Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber. So I was like, "So you're telling me there's a chance, right?" So and so I'd be like, well, you're here anyway. Let's can I ask you some questions? He was like, absolutely. So we got to a point where we figured out that whatever demographics, whatever information, whatever they thought about my community, it was absolutely different. It was absolutely 1000% different. And I had real data that he didn't have. And you have one of those meetings, you use, you go in for the kill, so to speak, and make your pitch. And the guy's leaving, and I'm like, I have no idea how that went. Either the guy is never going to take my call again, or it went great, and it could be anything in between. And the local broker for Arizona stood back and whispered, he was like, you guys did a really good job. And that was it. And I started just reaching out to them. And about 2 years later, they said, you can calm down. We're coming to your community. And that was great. So that has sparked a partnership that has sparked a partnership with a landowner. Actually, they just purchased land next to Costco. And they just submitted, so it took about 30 days after Costco opening, but they submitted an additional 890,000 square feet of retail planned development. So I would say, you don't have to figure out an entire site. You don't have to figure out your freeway. You don't have to figure out your railplex. You just have to find that one thing that's going to activate the rest of it. And so that's what made me really proud of that project, because it's activated the rest of it.
Absolutely don't take no for an answer.
That's right.
All right. All right, then we'll, now we're going to find out about how you like to do business, Jeanine.
Okay.
So for companies that would like to do business with you, how would we get started?
I would say everybody should contact our department first. If you work for a city or have worked for a city, I think we all share, a little bit of I wouldn't call it frustration, but a little anxiety when somebody starts at the planning department or kind of tries to do it all themselves without checking in with us, because we've all seen people go into the wrong location, not understand that they need representation, perhaps, or just think that they can repair everything themselves without a contractor license. So I always say, make sure start with the people who want to help you, and so I would say contact our department. We're at surpriseaz.gov/econdev. So that's and we'll give anybody 30 minutes, I promise.
Perfect.
So if we want to meet with you, Jeanine, how would we go about that right now?
Email is always the best, but you can text me as well. And my email address, it's my first name and last name, which I know is not easy to spell, neither name. So Jeanine.Jerkovic@surpriseaz.gov.
Very nice. Now, tell us a little bit about AAED. What are your top 2 favorite AAED events and why?
All right. Well, so I'll back up for a second and say all of the events that AAED does, and literally all of them that you do that are inside and don't involve a sport, are my favorite. So if I could tell a funny story, it's supposed to be funny. It is funny now. Maybe it wasn't at the time. And I think it speaks to, a lot of things I love about AAED. So I don't know, was it about 6 years ago, I get a phone call from someone on your membership committee, and it was a really sweet phone call. And I think I was in the middle of something, so maybe I didn't understand what was going on. But the call was, hey, we'd love you to come play cornhole. And I didn't know what cornhole was, so we'll start there. It didn't sound like something I would probably do, but but I'm in the future now. I know what it is, but so I'm on the phone. I'm like, I don't know what that is. So and I go, but does it take place outside? And they're like, yeah, it's outside. It's great. There's going to be lots of people. I'm like, that sounds great, except so I'm going to save, maybe put a note in your membership thing. If you're going to, if the event is outside or if there's a sport involved, I'm probably not the one to call, but definitely I'll tell my team about it. It sounds great. And the response was, well, don't you want to network? And I said, is it outside? And so Yeah, it was. So I'm like, well, I'm probably not I would love to network inside. So whatever you do inside. So no, I've loved the annual dinner, I think is great. And the lunches, those, and this is probably my new favorite one because I love that it's so condensed and I can get to know somebody. So anyway, and I'm not sports. I'm not gifted at sports, but but I love everything
good
else.
at it.
And now I know what cornhole is, although it doesn't sound very polite.
Terrible at cornhole, but I go just for the networking. So I did learn something really important about you today, and that is that I totally had your last name pronounced wrong. So it's Jerkovic.
Yes, and my husband would say I'm not even pronouncing it correct, so I'll take any pronunciation. So that's totally fine.
Right.
And I'll go learn how to pronounce my name after this.
Me too. Okay, so we have time for questions. Does anybody have any questions for Jeanine? If you do, we go ahead and put it in the chat.
I don't have a question, but I got a comment.
Okay.
Jeanine Jerkovic is one of my absolute friggin' favorite people.
I love you, Rick Ireland.
I'm done.
I love you, Rick Ireland.
I can't even
Wait, Rick,
see.
I didn't hear what you said. Can you say it again? I didn't hear you. You were yelling too loud.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
This is
Anybody else
Tom
want to
Burrow.
yell out a question or a comment?
I just wanted to say that I am so fortunate to have Jeanine and the City of Surprise as neighbors to El Mirage. They are absolutely amazing, every one of them. And Jeanine in particular, they just are great economic developers. I respect them immensely, and it's just a joy to work with them.
And I'm going to add my 2 cents worth as well. They're phenomenal partners as far as regionalism. Sam just invited me to the AZ Crew presentation, and it was all about the Northwest region. TSMC is coming in, if you hadn't heard. And I heard from a couple of folks in the AEC world who said, I really appreciate hearing about the region, not just a city. The innovation that comes out of Jeanine's office is stunning, frankly. So I'm proud to call her friend, and really happy that we can be partners.
Amazing. That was, I don't know if anybody saw that AZ Crew presentation, but I hope there's a recorded version or something that goes out. I was absolutely blown away. I mean, we live and breathe this every single day, and there were aspects of that conversation that I wasn't aware of, in terms of just the sheer scale of things happening was interesting and amazing. And
There is a recorded version. I will tell you that because I've already got the link to it, so I can send that to you.
and of course, Sam Pinkel is on top of it.
I just dropped the link to the recording as well as the presentation. Have it for your closer inspection.
Hey, Jeanine or Sam, if we're gonna go see whether it's this year or future years, go see a Royals or a Rangers game, what is your expert recommendation for a spot afterwards to grab a drink or to go eat beforehand?
State 48 Brewery. It's the original State 48 in Surprise. That's my recommendation.
That's a good one. I mean, Irish Wolfhound is a good one. But my favorite place, I mean, and they're getting better. It's, in terms of their after hours offering, I would think of them more as a lunch dinner place. That Saigon Kitchen is fabulous, and they're renovating a spot for something called the SK Lounge, and it looks very Scottsdale-y. So if you want to take have a date night, or take a small group of friends or something after the game, it's a nice little place, like the velvety high top booths and chandeliers, and you get to feel
Sounds very
fancy.
Scottsdale-y.
That's right. It's about as fancy as we get, you know.
I'm going to follow up with Matt's question. I want to know if you're going to do something to develop the Rangers and the Royals. Looked like they both could use some help.
They're going into some new housing, or actually the Rangers are already, their complex is built, their housing complex, and the Royals complex is under construction. So we expect to, see a lot more of them year round, and we're excited because they're now really part of our landscape. And I talked about in terms of permanent real estate, I talked about, you don't need to do the whole downtown, you just have to find things that activate it. And so we're really doing a lot, and the Royals and Rangers are a big part of that in developing our main street, which is Bullard, because you just got to get one piece right, and then it's just a maintain. But no, it's a great question.
Hey, Jeanine, do you have any large non-retail developments on the horizon?
That's a good question. Sam, do you want to jump in?
And toss to Sam. Yeah, the Railplex is pretty busy. Amazon's last mile distribution center is, it looks nearly complete. We can't get an end date out of them, but I suspect this summer they'll be operating. We actually do have, in the southern half of the Railplex, we have 3 or 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 acre parcels that are getting developed and built out. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of industry come in. And then Jeanine is doing a great job from a medical travel, tourism excellence perspective of gaining some traction there. So yeah, across the commercial spectrum, we're seeing some activity.
Has the BNSF certification you have helped as far as help to promote your industrial areas?
Yeah, it's been really helpful, especially when we're asked for documentation. I can say, do you have room for a zip file? I have 30 pieces of information I can give you. So not only does it advertise well, it's helpful to us to have all that data consolidated and ready.
Yeah, and it's on their website too, on BNSF website. I really commend you for getting that certification. I don't know if any other city in Arizona has it.
No, I think there's still the only 2 sites in Arizona, and the landowners were really helpful in consolidating all that information, because really they had done most of the work. It was really just a few last pieces of information that we needed to gather to get those certifications.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of rail service prospects as well off of that same BNSF line. So I really see in 5 years, pretty much all of the land near that rail service is going to be full.
I can agree more. It's going to be the year of manufacturing, I think, for a lot of us.
This is Peter, I would agree with that.
Well, and just to nod it back to Jeanine, she's already got her eye on Railplex 2.0. So we're thinking ahead. We've got our eyes on the future already.
True.
All right, you guys, we've come to the end of the program. Sorry, it's 10:30. I wish we could go on longer, but we promised everybody we'd get them out. I just want to thank you so much, Jeanine, for being our guest today. We enjoyed spending time with you and getting a chance to get to know you a little bit better. I just want to say, don't forget to join us next time, March 18th, as we interview Jamie Kerr from the Arizona Commerce Authority.
Fun.
Can I embarrass Carla real quick and say congratulations in front of everybody?
Good.
for being voted one of the top 50 economic developers in the U.S.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
That was awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you pointed
Sorry,
that out.
Jeanine. I didn't mean to take away from your event, but she was here, so I had to embarrass her.
Jeanine, say hi to Hoover for me.
I will do.
All right, you guys.
Jeanine, did you share your favorite snack?
No.
Yeah, I wanted to know what your surprise favorite snack was.
The favorite snack that we ever did?
Or no, just whatever you like to eat. Like, what's your favorite snack? I was just
Oh my gosh.
playing off what you guys always promote.
Oh my gosh. You know what? They're right here. Wasabi flavored almonds. They're only like 10 calories more than the plain almonds. Blah. So like flavor it up. That's what I say.
Oh, fun.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, you guys.
Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you for everybody for being on.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.